Hey, people on YouTube, how's it going? I mentioned in my last video that I was completely out of space for books and I needed new shelves. And it's funny how the universe provides sometimes. I was walking home today from the subway and there was a bookshelf on the side of the road labeled free. Perfect size for what I needed. So I lugged it home and set it up, and I thought I'd do a little bit of a bookshelf tour for you today. I'm not going to do a full bookshelf tour because it's late and it takes a lot of time and a lot of editing to do, but I thought I'd just go through and show you some of the stuff that I put on this shelf. I've filled it up already. I have that many books laying around in random piles, but it's nice to have them organized a little bit. So if you look at the top shelf here, you see these beautiful color-coded books there. Those are all my P.G. Wodehouse collection. That's 14 volumes there, ranging for everything from the Jeeves and Wooster stories, the Smith stories, lots of school stories, which are my favorites. I love those. Various other titles. And I actually have more than that, but this is all I have with me at the moment. So I'm putting those on the top shelf. They look nice. They're by Overlook Press, which is one of my favorite publishers, and they're beautiful little hardcovers. Next to that, I've filled out the rest of the shelf with my extended Tolkien library. This is basically all the unpublished first, second, third, and nth drafts of The Lord of the Rings and surrounding materials that Tolkien's son, Christopher Tolkien, published over the years, posthumously, after J.R.R. Tolkien died. It's actually very fascinating if you are a huge Tolkien fan like I am. It would be very dull if you weren't, but if you want to see how that mythology and how those books shaped up from the beginning to the end, you can see how it all changed over the years. And, Tolkien was very obsessive and wrote many, many drafts and changed as he went. He didn't really outline so much as just write it a bunch of times and have it evolve over time. So I have all these History of Middle-earth volumes up there, and then it spills over into the next shelf where I have the Silmarillion. Very appropriately, I think, I have the Silmarillion right next to my copy of the Bible, because they're about, they're both pretty important religious texts there. Moving on to the second shelf, I've decided to devote this one to a lot of my more occult books that I am interested in. So some of it is religion, some of it is various other things. I have the Gnostic Bible here, which is a collection of various apocryphal texts that didn't make it into the real Bible. I've got a book on Tibetan Buddhism, which I never finished reading. I should really get back to that. And then over here I have some more esoteric things. I have The Golden Dawn by Israel Regardie. I've got the Book of Ceremonial Magic by Arthur Edward Waite. I've got some books on Kabbalah. I won't go through them individually. I've got some Aleister Crowley book on dramatic ritual, the Book of the Law, which is too small to see here. I've got a book on alchemy called The Hermetic Museum. That's by a publisher called Forgotten Books that just takes very generic covers, but they produce a lot of stuff that you can't get elsewhere. Book on cryptozoology that I bought at the International Museum of Cryptozoology in Portland, Maine. I recommend going there if you have the opportunity. It's pretty interesting. And then over here I've got a couple books on fairy lore. I've got the Fairy Faith in Celtic Countries, and I've got British Goblins, both great books on fairy lore. And then a couple things on Druidry and Earth religions, paganism, and a book of English folk tales. I'm going to move the camera now and show you the bottom shelf. Hang on. And then on my bottom shelf here, I put my Barnes & Noble, well, apart from this beautiful leather-bound Tolkien, which I've talked about before, I put my Barnes & Noble leather-bound classics on there. We have the complete works of H.P. Lovecraft, the complete works of Lewis Carroll, the Arabian Nights, the complete works of Edgar Allan Poe, and Gray's Anatomy. You also have Gormenghast over here, which I've talked about before on this channel. Great, you should read it. It's amazing. And then a couple of the Folio Society editions, The History of the Kings of Britain, and English Eccentrics. And then this is an Encyclopedia Britannica leather-bound version of the works of Plato that I just found abandoned somewhere and I thought was pretty cool. And then my Atlas Obscura book, which is autographed to me by the author. It is Atlas Obscura, for those who don't know, is an awesome website that will show you amazing, fun things to see around the world, so you should check that out, atlasobscura.com. Okay, so that's what I've used to fill up my new bookshelf. I think it's looking pretty good. I'm very excited to have the extra space so I can buy more books, and maybe I'll probably need another one here pretty soon. But I just think it's fascinating how the universe will provide. Just when I said I needed one, I found one. Good job, universe. I'll see you next time.